I'm curious, Ashwin. Um, you know, in preparing for this conversation with you, um, I, I was just doing some research and learning about you a bit more, and I saw this interview where there was a statement from you that just really was really intriguing to me, and basically, and this was a few years ago, I think, but you were talking about your teachings, in self-defense and martial arts, and you had this line saying that really what most of your students at that time, and maybe even still now, what they're looking for is happiness. And more than just like, I want to be a badass fighter or something, that kind of underneath it all is just like, man, what's happiness? And it comes to mind for me just hearing what you're saying, because that concept of happiness, or maybe it's peace, I feel like that's something as well that is tied to that inner draw that we feel of, I'm not, there's something, I'm not at my full potential, or I feel like life has got me down, or I feel trapped, or I feel like there's more to life. And people do start to seek, God, what am I missing? What am I not seeing? I see these, like you're saying, in the, Patanjali and the Yoga Sutras, I see the Upanishads, I see the ancient teachings. I also see, happy, models and actors and actresses, and I see millionaires and billionaires that look happy. I sort of see all these different things everywhere. Other, people living these lives that maybe, oh, should I be that? Should I be a yogi? Should I be a millionaire? Should I be, what am I supposed to be? Where is happiness for me? And I do, and I think that people get drawn to this journey of saying, what rocks can I uncover? Can I turn over? Where can I look to find something in myself, to enter a new chapter of life? It's happiness. And I think part of that can be, all right, I need to explore my own sense of self, right? I need to, maybe I'll try, smoking marijuana or one of these other, mind-opening substances, and working that way, to help me just get out of my whatever's blocking me in life, whatever's kind of holding me back. And then, but there's all kinds of other ways too. And so I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on just that simple word, but my goodness, that sort of elusive and so powerful word of just happiness. What can you speak to of that just single term?
Okay, because in Indian philosophy, we have different kinds of happiness, right? We've got Ananda, we've got Santosha, we've got Mudita. These are three types of happiness. And Mudita is what happens when we make other people happy. What happens in us, that's called Mudita. And when we get happy ourselves, when we get what we want, when we are clear what we want and we get what we want, that happiness is called Santosha. And a combination of Santosha plus Mudita is called Ananda. So if you're happy, you're getting what you want, and then you made sure that everybody else got what they want, then only you can be truly happy. Ananda is joy, bliss, that kind of stuff. So there's a whole body called the Anandamaya Kosha, where your learnings about, and when I say body, in the Upanishads, it said that we have 5 bodies which cover our soul. And Anandamaya Kosha is the innermost cover. And this is all about how we, all our learnings about relationships are stored here. And the way we relate to people determines our happiness. The way we behave with them is in our control. And the way we give them feedback about how they behave with us, that's also in our control. So actually, all of your relationships are in your control. It's all about your communication and your feedback. And it's also how you feel inside. So that, all that data of how we should feel for what, how we should feel for what part of relationships, and what does it mean to you to interact with another human being, and what are you trying to achieve together. All of this data is important, and it's important that we share it with each other. And that's the happiness body. So when everybody has clarity, happiness begins with clarity. If you're confused, you can't be happy. You have to be clear. And when you have clarity about what you want, and when you have clarity about how to give feedback to people about what they want, so that you can work together mutually for a mutually beneficial cause, project, whatever, then you have a relationship, then you have a real relationship. Otherwise, what you have is just, I don't know, it's companionship, it's not a relationship. I don't know, it's really not that. You can't be happy with that. So, and nobody can be happy alone, okay? So there's this whole illusion people have that they can just, go live in a cave and then be alone and then just be happy. And it's not possible, because the more you live in a cave, the more you're going to miss people, the more you're going to actually think about people. You're going to be thinking about people all the time. It's a good exercise to go live in a cave for a year, because when you come back, you'll know the value of everyone in your life. So that's what happened to me. I went and lived in a cave for 2 years, and I came back and I was like, damn, I'm not going to ever spoil any relationships again. I want to hold on to all the people who really love me, and I'm going to be there for them. I'm going to make sure that they're there for me. So that's the kind of thing I came back with after meditating for 2 years alone in a cave. My beard was this long, but in my brain, I got clarity that you really have to be clear about what you want. And you have to learn to communicate it, and you have to learn to give feedback to people when they behave in ways that are difficult for you to bear. So then you have to be able to talk to them properly. These are all the ingredients of happiness. So it's not some quest where I sit, I meditate, I focus on my third eye, my kundalini rises, and all of a sudden I'm happy all by myself. That's bullshit. Take it from a yogi. Don't do that. Yeah.
I remember years ago, I was working with this. He was I guess it's not a yogi from Tibet. I don't know what the proper term for that is, but he had lived.
That's right.
Is that it? So 7 years. 7 years he had been in a cave, and he didn't speak very good English, but myself and a group of students were with him, working with him, and he was talking about his experience of being in the cave, and talking about kind of the journey of exploring his mind, exploring his sense of being, his self-created idea of what life is and beingness is and reality is. And then this moment happened. Sometimes you sort of feel like the energy of the moment just kind of like crystallizes. Like there was this moment where all of a sudden the whole room goes silent, and he just sort of stops and stares at all of us, and he asks this question. He says, "Have you lived in a cave for 7 years?" And it was one of those moments where you could hear a pin drop, right? There was something in the way that he asked the question and just completely like froze the room. And no one really responded, because clearly none of us, it's like it was this loaded question, right? None of us had lived in a cave for 7 years. We're a bunch of like 20 and 30-year-old American suburb people, whatever. Like none of us had ever done that. But you knew there was something loaded. Like, why in the heck is this guy asking us this question? And it was some months later. I just was kind of, I would replay that moment for a while, and it all of a sudden hit me at one moment. And maybe this is totally wrong, but I feel like it's right. All of a sudden it hit me that really what he was saying to us is, all of you also have lived in a cave, where, like, I'm saying, metaphorical cave, where our entire lives are this cave where we're constantly figuring out who we are and what our relationships and what is our what is our sense of being and our beliefs and our, where do we, hold all these memories that we drag with us from one moment to the next. And it was kind of this thing that even though it would be a special experience for anyone to go and have that type of focused time of being actually in a cave in the earth for some years. I feel like he was saying to us as a bunch of Americans who probably wouldn't do that, that look, you're in a cave right now. Like he may have been in a cave, quietly sitting, looking out through this hole in the earth, out into the world, you know, for years, just sitting there, you know, experiencing moment to moment, just the ever-present passing of one moment to the next, and all of what is encompassed in that in beingness. But basically, the three of us right now are still in the cave. Like the three of us right now are still experiencing that exact same journey of beingness and all the different layers of consciousness and reality that are involved in that. And there are just, it's kind of that question of what next can you learn about that? Like you're saying, you know, the experience of coming out of the cave and being like, oh my gosh, my relationships, you know, I'm going to honor these and respect these and preserve these. And you know, there's yeah, there's all, you know, and I think in all of that sort of leading towards whatever, like those levels of happiness, you know, or self-discovery, you know, whatever it may be for each of us. Anyway, just
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to define what happiness is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.